What's your idea of heaven? Well, a little boy from Nebraska thinks he has a pretty good idea because he says he's been there. We'll talk to him in a moment, but first, his story. Some people have called this God's country, with crimson sunrises and rolling farmlands. Imperial, Nebraska, population 1,982, is the heartland. It's also where the Burpos, Todd, the local pastor, his wife Sonia, and their 3 kids live. Normal in all respects, except one.
A few angels, they came, picked me up, and I was looking right at Jesus.
That's right, Colton, their 11-year-old, has been to heaven.
Then he says the thing that gets our attentions, but that's where the angels sang to me, Mommy. And it's like, wow. Angel, wow.
It all started when Colton was 4 with a near tragedy.
We'd really hit a real low because we looked at each other and knew we'd really blown it.
What they thought was the flu turned out to be a burst appendix.
We think it had burst for 5 days, so for a little kid to have all that poison in him for that long, yeah.
At the hospital, they were given little hope.
I remember the doctor just not saying anything. You know, that was a nightmare.
After 17 days in the hospital, Colton emerged, but he was different. He began speaking about things he couldn't possibly know about. His mother's miscarriage, his father's prayers, and a visit with his great-grandfather, Pop.
I was just sitting by the Holy Spirit, and then this guy comes up to me and says, "Are you Todd's son?" I say, "Yes." He says, "Well, I'm his grandfather."
It all led to this book, Heaven is for Real. Todd, Sonia, and Colton Burpo are with us now. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Colton, I want to talk to you in a second, but let me talk to you first, Todd, and get this right out of the way. People are going to say, this is a pastor.
Yes.
This is a believer. This is a man of the cloth. He wants desperately to believe this, and he wants others to believe it, and that's why this story is out there. How do you respond to people like that?
Well, at first, we were surprised. We doubted ourselves. We never anticipated to talk to our son about these things. And what caught my attention, or what grabbed mine, is when he could tell me where I was while he was in surgery. The surgeon couldn't tell me that. The nurses in there couldn't. My wife couldn't tell me where I was praying, but he could tell me.
And you asked him how he knew that, and he said, because I could see you. I was sitting, I think he even said, I was sitting in Jesus' lap as you were doing all these things. So you were cynical, both of you, a little bit at first, until you started to hear these things.
Exactly.
Some of the other things he said, okay, I'm sitting in Jesus' lap. Everyone in heaven has wings. Mine were a little smaller than most people's. Nobody is old in heaven.
I like that part.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like that. I mean, did you start to share these stories with other people, and did anyone look at you and say, you folks are crazy, you've just been through a traumatic experience? Sonia?
We didn't share at first, and then once we started sharing, people were amazed, and they were encouraged by what we were sharing with them.
Colton, today, so you're 11, this all happened to you when you were 4. How vivid are your memories today? Can you still close your eyes and remember exactly what you think heaven looked like, exactly what Jesus looked like, all those things?
Well, I remember most of it, but since time has come by, you forget.
And when you say nobody in heaven is old, they all, I mean, you saw nobody like in their 60s, 70s, 80s up there?
No, saw them in their 20s, 30s at oldest.
I think a question a lot of people would like to ask you, Colton, is what did heaven itself look like? I mean, is it the way I talk about it to my kids? Is it above the clouds? Does everybody float? What's it like?
Well, there's a lot of colors. There are a lot of people and a lot of animals.
You know, I think the story that's going to get a lot of people's attention, Sonia and Todd, is the story he told. He came back and he met the child that you had miscarried, and that was a couple of years earlier. Mm-hmm. Had you ever told him about that incident?
Mm-mm. Not at all. Not at all.
So how would you explain it to a 3-year-old that a baby died in your tummy? So, no, I mean, I don't think we were still even talking about it. It was a private hurt that we didn't even share with our friends,
and
more or less our family.
Can you describe the moment he said that to you?
A shocking, but then a relief that she's okay, which we didn't know she was a she.
And tell me about Pop. Colton, tell me about Pop.
Well, Pop, he was very big, huge wings. He had curly hair, big smile, and he was really nice.
You know, what's amazing is this has become a New York Times bestseller, I mean, for nonfiction. I guess the simple explanation is there are a lot of people out there who want to believe, or at least want to question.
Yeah.
Is that the way you look at it?
Well, I think for us, like when he told us about his sister in heaven, that we hadn't told him about, another one of those holy cow moments, okay, that, okay, he can't make this up, he can't invent this, no memory was planted. But the peace that came over us and the healing, you know, just the wow, I have a daughter waiting for me. I think a lot of people need that type of hope and healing too. And I think that's what a lot of people are finding when they hear Colton's testimony.
So that's what you want people to take away from this, a sense of peace, perhaps?
Hope, healing. They know what they have to look forward to.
Todd, Colton, Sonia, thank you all very much. The book is called Heaven is for Real, and they'll be back in our fourth hour to talk to Kathy Lee and Hoda. We're back after your local news.